Hello there. Control your insolence and concentrate. It's time for Most Things Kenobi.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, Lauren.
And I'm your host, Leanne.
And this week, it's Leave It to Grievous.
It is. Sorry. It entertains
An episode
me.
all about Grievous. It's taking, man. Like, people DM'd me about Leave It to Grievous after our last episode.
Yay, good. Well, this whole episode is left to him.
It's catching on.
Well, I don't know if he would appreciate it. He definitely wouldn't get the joke, obviously, but I don't think he would appreciate it either. And that's why we like him.
Yeah, he's a man, you can't really say a man, a being full of rage.
Yes. And his rage is never more applicable than these days. Right?
Oh my God. Idiots.
I need him just to be like in the corner somewhere at all times in my life, just filling in the blanks for me, shouting just snide remarks, you know?
I feel like there should be an animatronic doll that you can buy with a remote control and you can just hit the button whenever you need Grievous to say something.
Do you remember the Tickle Me Elmo of the 90s?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Tickle Me Grievous. If you just tickle his cyborg stomach, he says, "Shut up, you idiot." I'm no errand boy.
I think that would sell well. I think that's a great idea.
Amongst our fandom, yes.
Yes.
Who needs a Black Series statue when you can have a Tickle Me Grievous?
Yeah, it's way more fun.
Way more. Anyway. Actually, he was, you said not a man, but I think he was. I think he was a male form at one point, and he rose in the ranks.
Yes.
To whatever the he is when Obi-Wan kills him.
He was not a human.
No.
Yeah, he wasn't a human, but he was a sentient living creature that was not a cyborg.
Yeah.
It was crazy, dude. When I was reading about Grievous, first of all, the Wikipedia page about him is too long to read in one sitting.
Yeah, there are so many chapters.
Yeah.
So many.
I read up to Clone Wars, and then it's like, I've seen Clone Wars, so at least I know that much. But, like, I knew nothing about his history. I feel like I learned a lot about Grievous just from what I was reading there, and it was really horrific.
It's terrible. So he's from Kali, and his species is Kalish, right? And
Yes.
the thing is, it doesn't sound like their species is very friendly in general.
Yeah, I guess they're known for being not merciful is like their thing.
Yeah, but I wonder if it's a case of, you know how the Sand People are perceived as being rather ruthless and horrible, and they're generally hated amongst the people of Tatooine, but really we learned through, I would say, the book of Boba Fett, that they have their own rituals, traditions, loves, etc.
Yeah.
Like,
community.
I wonder if this is just, I mean, it would have to be. Hate can't drive you this much, can it?
Well, it kind of reminded me of Vikings in a way. Like real historical Vikings, because the whole idea is it's a warrior culture. They value success in battle, and you gain your wealth through success in battle and then taking, spoils of war. Basically, it's how you were able to make your way. And this reminded me of that a lot. The Kalish culture they were warlords, basically.
Yeah.
And they also would keep treasures from the people that they conquered, which kind of explains why Grievous liked to collect lightsabers.
Yes, very much.
It was cultural, and I don't know, there was a specific war, right, that he kind of shined during and made a name for himself.
Yes.
And became his own warlord. Like, he was a warlord on Kalish before he became General Grievous.
Well, he adopted the name of Grievous, which I did not know. I thought he was given it.
I didn't know that either. Yeah, I didn't know that either. He chose it himself.
This is so Grievous of him. Like, usually titles, nomakers,
yes,
those are given to you. He chose his.
yeah, like you do something and people are, like, a name sticks, you know? But like with him, he was like, "Ooh, I like this one.
This one's good. I'm gonna take this one."
Oh man, it's so funny. But of all the names he could have picked. I mean, it's a good name.
It's a good name. It's a good name. There's alliteration there because it's General Grievous. You know.
Yeah.
But he was well respected, which I think is Dooku. You can't compare it to Dooku, right? Because Dooku saw something in him, potential. Of course, you're looking at it through the lens of someone who needs to use somebody for their own gain, which is the Separatist gain, etc. If he was respected amongst his people, it's much different than how Dooku respected him. It's the same way as, like, the minute Grievous does something wrong, he's thrown out. Just like Ventress, essentially.
The more I read about this, the more when Obi-Wan calls him Dooku's errand boy, the more true that is. And Grievous was just in denial.
But it's no surprise to me how defensive he got as well, because I've been known as this in my people, and I've been known as that in my people, and he says this. Like, I was a warrior long before, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I hate to break it to you, Grievous. You are literally just the dog of Dooku.
Which is how the Sith work.
That's exactly how they work.
You're basically always expendable. And it's naive for anyone to believe otherwise, that somehow they're going to be powerful. It's like, until you're no longer necessary. You're a means to an end, always, with the Sith.
Which is sad.
But I read something... There was something interesting here, though, saying that Grievous's hatred of the Jedi made him easily manipulated, because he was so focused on that all they had to do was offer him the opportunity, not even put it in his lap, but just like, you might face the Jedi, you could kill as many Jedi as you like. That was like enough for him to do whatever they asked, basically.
Easy. But did you read why he hated the Jedi even before Dooku came to him?
Yeah.
They intervened in that war.
Yes, which I find very controversial in a sense, because what was the war? It was a specific alien species that looked like the praying mantis.
The Yamri?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you see the picture of them? They look like a giant praying mantis.
I didn't see the picture. No.
Terrifying.
Oh.
So they were known to invade places and strip the locals of resources and then take the people as slaves.
This is the Yamri.
Slaves.
The praying mantis. Okay.
Yes. So Grievous, his original name was something I can't really pronounce. It's like Kaimean Josh Shilal.
Yeah, where is it? It's very Middle Eastern sounding.
Yeah, and like Shilal was his surname, I guess. But they said that he kind of rose in the ranks during this war. And then later, he actually attacked the Yamri or whatever they're called. God, I hate Star Wars names. Like, just make real names. You don't have to just put consonants and vowels together with apostrophes and then like, ooh, we made up a new name. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves about Star Wars.
Because I kind of like it sometimes.
Do you?
Sometimes.
It feels like they're trying too hard.
They are. That's why I like it. It's like I see right through you. I get what you're doing. You're trying to make it sound different. Get it,
it's
Star Wars.
Unpronounceable.
I think it's pronounced the Yamri.
Yes, so Grievous led his troops there and attacked them on their home soil as revenge. And then the Republic gets involved and it's like, oh, you can't do that. But it was okay for the Yamri to attack the Kalish and put them into slavery. Like, it just frustrates me because the Republic is a bunch of hypocrites.
Well, I feel like it in this regard, it's very Empire-like. What they're doing, or at least what the Yamri did, and then for the Republic to come in like 10 minutes too late, so to speak.
Yeah,
very
and
odd.
To defend the
choice.
Yamri who are slavers, and I just the whole situation was, I mean, it's understandable why Grievous would hate the Jedi. It makes sense.
Also, Well, why is it always focused on the Jedi, though? Why isn't it focused on the Republic as a whole?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe the Jedi were sent there to do the Republic's bidding.
Yeah, they were kind of the don't shoot the
front man.
messenger kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Either way, it made Grievous had a deep hatred of the Jedi and the Republic after that, which made him the perfect pawn for Dooku and Sidious. I guess the Republic put like embargoes on his home planet and people starved to death.
Yeah, that's
basically.
not cool. That's not cool
Yeah.
under any circumstance. Poor choices at this point from the Republic. Poor choices.
It's crazy too because Grievous's planet is in the Outer Rim. So why did the Republic have jurisdiction there?
That's a good question too. I don't know.
These are political questions we have no answers to.
They obviously didn't have a senator sitting in there for the planet.
Yeah.
So, you know, they probably should have just let it go, but here we are. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird. I love like learning all of this about Grievous, right? And knowing what such a pain in the ass he is throughout the Clone Wars. And then when Anakin finally walks in Revenge of the Sith and like delivers his line, you know, it's like you met your match.
Thought he would be taller.
Yeah,
that comment. Yeah.
The first comment out of this Jedi's mouth is a direct strike against. I just love it.
Against his stature. Yeah.
Plus, about all we know about the Clone Wars, how they like the Clone Wars series, they specifically had to keep Anakin from seeing Grievous the entire series based on the Revenge of the Sith scene, which I'm glad they did.
I am too, because it shows that someone's paying attention and they care enough to keep it consistent. I think that's great.
This is the truth. Yes.
And because of that, all we get is Grievous and Obi-Wan the entire time in Clone Wars, which I absolutely love.
Yes. It's fantastic because Obi-Wan delivers all the lines that really hit home, that really deliver something to Grievous based on his history. If you really look at his history, like the long version. Okay, I have notes up here, but the long version that you're referring to from Wikipedia is there's a lot of battles, there's a lot of loyalty, there's a lot of dedication, in a sense, to what they believe in. And then to have Obi-Wan come in and question all of that and then just like second guess it, right? And make him second guess it right in his face. You know, Grievous had to have known that Dooku was a piece of shit, right? Or
I feel like Grievous didn't like anybody.
It's true.
except maybe his own warriors. You know, he had like a cadre of bodyguards that he traveled around with before Dooku, and that he respected. But then everything after that he hated.
It's hilarious that his entire army, he's surrounded by droids. There's nobody alive except for Dooku, who's in his sphere of influence. It's like
and he hates droids. He absolutely hates them. Honestly, Wikipedia's sometimes not super well written, so there was like a few segments that I was trying to read. I'm like, I don't understand what you're trying to say here. But it sounds like when when Grievous awoke after his final surgery or whatever to become an android, and he realized what he looked like. Yeah. He was kind of horrified and killed everybody who was present. I don't know what that's in reference to, but then later he says that he's happy, like he made this choice. Like this is his choice, and he's more powerful than ever to be mostly android.
Was it not? Did you also read this? In his history, he allowed the very beginning cybernetic enhancements. It was never supposed to end up like it did. Yeah. Dooku and the whole Sith, you know, that whole background there allowed him to make or offered to give him enhancements.
Yeah, which I was like, is it the precursor to Vader?
Yeah. 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 I was thinking, were they testing all of this in hopes that one day they would be using it on a much better subject, a more powerful subject?
Yes. Yes. I feel like yes, and it just ended up having to be Anakin Skywalker. I don't think that was Sidious's intention. He wanted Anakin to be Anakin.
Yes, full power, no limitations.
Yeah, and it just happened that he had this technology prepared, so he was able to create Vader's suit and everything as a result. But they said that, Anakin as Vader was in constant pain. They said Grievous was also in constant pain.
I just don't understand how you couldn't be. It's not meant to be. Like, I don't know. So the only things that were, I guess, flesh about Grievous after the final, when he crashed or whenever his ship or something, that's what led to the big enhancement, the big final product.
Dooku he sabotaged Grievous's ship.
Yeah.
Grievous had a horrible crash and died, basically. And Dooku said, like, we can save you, but we have to, like, change everything. So he basically tricked Grievous into the full transformation and then told Grievous that the Jedi sabotaged his ship. But really, it was Dooku who did it. And that's what forced him into the final round of becoming basically a full android.
So the only things that were flesh were parts of his face, his eyes, his brain. They were able to keep, after that,
parts of it.
But they kept the part of his brain that kept the anger.
Well, they said that actually the transformation made his aggression even stronger. And
I would guess so.
It sounded like over time his mind even weakened a bit, because it's more like the robot part was taking over more and more, and he only had like room for very small emotions. Like, it was only like rage is what was left.
So really, Obi-Wan trying to reason or throw anything at the dartboard there of Grievous was in folly, because
it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work.
I like copied over all the changes that Grievous went through.
Yeah, let's hear them.
And it's crazy. After accepting Dooku's invitation, Grievous sacrificed practically all of his physical body, his nerve endings. Yeah. And then they increased his strength and speed. But like the practical part of it is that Grievous's brain was altered without his knowledge in order to make him smarter and faster. His memory center was also tinkered with to suppress memories of his past, to concentrate more, and to increase his aggression.
Wow.
His remaining, like you said, the remaining parts of his body that were him were basically only his eyes, portions of his brain, his bone marrow, spinal cord, his lungs, and his liver, because remember, Obi-Wan shot him in the heart, so also his cold heart, quote unquote. And then portions of his digestive system were required to maintain his organic elements, but he didn't, eat, really.
Yeah. Interesting.
And he was encased in a duranium alloy body for the rest of his life.
That's nuts. It's nuts.
He also had an ultrasonic vocabulator that apparently was pretty close to his original voice, but it was not his physical vocal box, vocal cords. Mm-hmm. His spinal cord carried signals to and from his robotic limbs as well as his remaining organs. Millions of pinpoint electrodes were inserted into his brain from the lining of his helmet to monitor brain activity and improve his nerve signal timings. So it's just kind of horrific when you get down into it. And now that originally in the Clone Wars miniseries, they said his cough was from Mace Windu, squeezing his lungs with the Force. But now in canon, they're saying that these cybernetic things basically weakened his lungs and irritated his organs, and that's what gave him a cough.
When did Mace do that?
It's the Battle of Hypori, I think. It's one of the it's in the micro series, not in the 3D animation. Okay. But that's not considered canon anymore, I don't think.
Because I could totally see Mace doing this.
Squeeze
the one functioning bodily thing you have. That's ruthless. That's ruthless.
No.
But it's smart, I guess, against Grievous. Interesting. Well, we all know the cough is because of... Didn't George Lucas have a cough at the time he was trying to do all this? When he was
Yes, I think
filming?
So, yeah. And they, it's his actual... He had, pneumonia or something, and they recorded his actual cough, which is so gross and,
I love that.
It's wet, lungy cough.
As someone who had bronchitis, chronic bronchitis in her childhood, I feel accepted.
You're being represented in Grievous.
Yes. Thanks, Grievous. Leave it to Grievous. Oh man, we forgot to whistle the intro.
I can't though.
whistle.
I can't do it.
I can't whistle. I can whistle, but not to a tune. Like,
no. It's better than I can do. Sometimes when I go to whistle, like nothing comes out. I'm like, how do you not end up whistling?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
My mom is one of the people who whistles through her teeth, which that I don't understand. Like, she does that with her. I'm trying to do it. You guys can't see.
On purpose, she can do it?
Oh yeah, there's someone in my workplace who can whistle through his teeth too. I don't get
That's
that,
amazing.
but
You gotta ask them if they can like work out an old prospector impersonation where they go, oh, and they'll whistle through their teeth when they talk.
yeah, I'll do that right after we record. So of the cyborgs, we have Grievous, Maul, and then Vader.
Oh, yes.
Like the top three, I would say.
Dream team.
Yeah, the cybernetic dream team.
Oh my god. They would not get along at all. They would just hate each other.
At least, so I find it interesting because were any of this is a question that may or may not have an answer. I'm just posing it because I'm thinking about it. So Grievous had things, the sensors in his brain, and they were adjusting it. Whoever they is, who I'm guessing Dooku and the top tier.
Who knows?
People?
Yeah, like whoever runs their servers.
Was it remote adjustments? I find it that interesting because was that also planned for the future Vader of whoever the future Vader was going to be? I mean, if we go with that theory, right?
Yeah.
Were they also going to try and pre-program or adjust programming? Because
Probably. I mean, there's a part in this research where I learned about what are they? They're like manga droids or something like that. Mm-hmm. I can't find their actual name here. But you know the droids that have the staff and they wear a cape?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
They're actually based on on Grievous's people. Like, that's why they wear the head wrap and the cape.
Oh.
It's based on his traditional cultural dress.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
He hated working with droids. He was apparently, before he worked with Dooku, Grievous was working for the banking clan.
Yeah.
And was supposed to lead their droids.
I'm not surprised by that either.
He hated them so much that he kind of helped them develop this prototype, which became this, super killing machine droid. But he programmed them. He's the one who taught them how to fight.
Interesting. Oh.
And that's what caught Sidious's attention, actually, more than anything else, is his initiative there.
Yeah.
But if he can program his training into the droids, imagine what else is possible and what they programmed into Grievous.
Yeah.
And part of his lightsaber combat and training with Dooku makes me wonder, was any of that programmed into him? Did he just learn it because he's that good of a warrior? In my opinion, he's not that good at lightsaber combat. He just is deadly because he can hold a lot of them, and he's got brute force.
Yeah.
It's exactly what Obi-Wan said. It's no heart, no spirit.
Right.
So it's predictable.
Yeah.
To answer your question.
Right. Well, yeah. It says here that the reconstructed Grievous became a skilled lightsaber duelist. Skilled in what way? As a droid? We have Vader, who was a Jedi once. He has the limitations of a cyborg or cybernetic body in some ways. He had a lot more flesh.
Yeah, left.
Right. But his suit also limited him from, the full arm up. He had to swing it from shoulder length and down because he couldn't bring it up, which I always found that fascinating, that somehow Vader was able to adapt to that and still be just as lethal. Take away 25% of your range of motion and you're still just as good. So I do wonder if he was just that good compared to the different versions of Grievous, and even with full range of motion, his cybernetics kept him worse off than a pre-trained, used-to-be Jedi who also just runs on malice now.
Well, and also the Jedi have the Force, so Anakin...
I'm completely discounting. I forgot about the Force.
Think about how it would help you anticipate your your opponent. Grievous doesn't have that at all. And it was actually one of the things Grievous hated about the Jedi, that they were
100%.
cowards
Yeah.
because they used the Force to enhance their fighting ability, and he was powerful with a lightsaber without the Force. It's like, yeah, but anyone can learn to wield it, but the lightsabers we know are like part of the Jedi's bodies.
Yes.
You know, the Force makes it like an extension of their body. So as good as Grievous could be, he would never be better than the most powerful Jedi.
No, because sheer brute isn't going to make you win anything when you have...
Yeah.
When you're connected to an actual Force, lowercase f, you know, you have something going through you into the lightsaber out to your opponent. Just because you're bigger and stronger and you have enhancements will not mean that you're going to automatically win any duel. And honestly, we see that with Grievous because he's sloppy. He just throws and hacks, and it's like a Jedi when they are disconnected from the Force, when they let their emotions take over. We see it with, well, Anakin, but like Obi-Wan all the time. When he's disconnected from his control through the Force, then he becomes sloppy and erratic.
Yeah. 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 And that's just Grievous all the time.
And that's just Grievous at his baseline.
Yeah. It's true. I think that's a really good point. And looking at his duels with Obi-Wan is really fun. There's actually 9 of them in canon. 2 of them are from comic books that I have not read, so I don't really know about those as well. But all of the other ones, except for Revenge of the Sith, are all in the Clone Wars. And there are moments where Obi-Wan's the winner, and moments where Grievous is the winner or will just escape. You know,
escape.
It just depends.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's a lot of times it's not necessarily that Grievous was more skilled if he comes out as the victor, so to speak. Obviously, neither of them ever fully succeeded because they would have killed one or the other or taken the other one into custody permanently or whatever.
Yes.
And that doesn't happen until Revenge of the Sith. But again, as everyone now argues, the way Obi-Wan kills him is like so anticlimactic.
It really is.
Now that you've added all these 8 other duels between them and that's how he kills him.
And knowing that he has all these brain enhancements.
Yeah. And knowing how proud Grievous was of wanting to defeat a Jedi using a lightsaber. Like, what the George? Obi-Wan shoots him with a blaster. And something I thought was really crazy and now makes sense. They said that Grievous's heart was really his heart. Yeah. And apparently his species organs were really flammable.
Flammable?
Which is why, yeah, like why when Obi-Wan shot him with a blaster, it burst into flames and like exploded.
Okay.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm sure that was written in after the fact to explain that. But
well, I'm down with that because that's different. But what kind of... I'm at a loss for words.
Of sulfur.
It's like,
I don't know.
What body would make itself that way if that's a threat?
Yeah.
You'd have to live... keep out of reach. You know, like...
Well, maybe if you have skin, it's okay. It protects you from that. But
I guess. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a smart thing for a body. An organic body. That's troubling.
You would think evolution would be smarter than that, but...
I mean, you can't cook food without fire, right? Some heat source? Maybe not a flame.
Well, yeah.
I guess
maybe
they would...
in Star Wars it's different.
That's
but
what I'm
here...
thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm doing too much science over here. It's made up. I gotta remind myself this.
Well, I don't know. I really love all the duels between Obi-Wan and Grievous.
They're some of the best in the entire series.
If I had to pick my favorite, it'd be so difficult. I really do love the one in ARC Troopers where they're on Camino.
Yes.
That one's always enjoyable. But then also the Grievous intrigue is also one of my favorites because it's not just, it's like a good long duel, but there's also like great banter during it, which is really...
The reason I appreciate Grievous so much is considering everything we've just talked about and knowing that Dooku is a piece of shit underneath Palpatine, who is a greater piece of shit, that Grievous never lost his snark and was not afraid to like grumble in return of whatever Dooku... Like he was obviously... He respected Dooku enough to do his bidding, but he also didn't he gave zero when it came down to talking back to Dooku.
Yeah.
In a way. So
Yeah.
Dooku and them knew what they were getting, and they didn't mind even if he did like talk back or sass or grumble or any of the things we know Grievous about. I do appreciate the fact that he still, despite all of the enhancements, they didn't bother to fix that. They didn't bother to change that. He just kept that part of him. If he was an arrogant being prior to all this, he continued to be that. Good for him. You know, onward and upwards, Grievous, but never lose yourself. Never lose the parts of you that make you you.
Well, it's funny you say this because it kind of reminds me of Lair of Grievous.
Yeah.
Which, like, the first time I saw that creeped the hell out of me.
It's pretty bad.
But he has statues of himself.
Yes. Yeah.
There that like represent different stages of his life. And I guess part of it is a bit of grief too, because he's lost part of that. But like, there's all these different statues making Grievous look super terrifying. First of all, he's holding like some severed head in one of them, and then the others he's started to change into cybernetics as he goes on. And it's like, it's this temple to himself where he can go and get rebuilt if he's damaged bad enough. But he's got his pet animal there. He's got his little surgical droid, and then all these statues commemorating himself. It's just like the biggest ego castle you've ever seen.
I love it. I appreciate that about him. I think it's horrible. I think he's a piece of shit. But fan club party of one, you know? Like, but if we take a more humane route, if they erased parts of his memories that he didn't remember, you know, his past, like you said, then maybe it's a construct to help him never forget he was a great, you know, blah, blah, blah. But really, I think it's just ego.
He's an egomaniac, and it takes one to know one with Sidious. So he knows exactly how to manipulate him and get him to do everything he wants. And then he's completely expendable. Once Dooku is killed, Grievous naturally is the next in line. And Sidious wastes no time in disclosing his location to the Jedi and having him attacked and basically killed. And just, that's it. And the thing that's interesting is without Clone Wars, Grievous was in Star Wars for like 5 minutes.
I know.
I take that back because holy that fight took like 45 minutes in Revenge of the Sith. But really, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Percentage-wise.
Yes. Yeah. What happened to the statues after he died, I wonder?
I hope Sidious kept them because they were amazing in their gruesomeness.
Yes. I hope they were preserved in some fashion.
Maybe Thrawn took them as art.
Oh, he took at least one. I'm thinking he took at least one.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's something Thrawn would be into, even though he can't use it, but...
The thing that makes me laugh, too, about Grievous's lair is, like, he's got all this power, and he could probably choose whatever he wants, and he wants a cave in the side of a hole in the wall where he's got no windows, just like how Vader chooses to live in an active volcano. What's wrong with these people? Dooku's the only one with like style and class and like, I'm gonna have a mansion on a beautiful mountain.
It's true, he does he has a nice crib, but like I think it's great that Grievous doesn't want any windows. Why bother?
Yeah, it's lost on him totally. Unless there's like a Jedi on the other side, he's not going to look out a window.
There's no way Grievous is ever going to look out a window and think, wow, that's a beautiful sunrise. It's just not happening.
It's true.
This sunrise and this planet. Where's Obi-Wan? I love Grievous in his own demented way.
He's a very entertaining character and a bit tragic. You know, I feel sorry for him.
You know, all of these people, all of these characters who end up underneath Palpatine in some fashion through Dooku or other, they're all tragic. It's all tragic. They're misled. They're misguided. They're brainwashed in a sense. They're played for what they are. They're played against each other in some ways. I mean, the only living example we have that succeeded in getting out was Ventress. You know?
Yeah. She was lucky. She was like lower on the tiers because it made it possible for her to escape, I think.
But she still kept that tinge of like a hard shell that seems to come with being underneath Dooku and through these various levels through Palpatine, you know, underneath Palpatine. It's just
a large scale abusive relationship is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they take their weaknesses or their pain or their past suffering and they manipulate it into making them feel strong. But if Sidious felt the slightest hint that someone was going a little too far, getting a little too strong, he would use those weaknesses to bring them back down again.
It's gross.
The Sith. It's so depressing, but very fascinating at the same time.
It is. It's interesting to see how these characters came up and how did they get here? How did they get to this point? And Grievous pretty much volunteered for most of it, so...
Yeah. Or it's like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where the wife is like, where the neck that turns the head, the man is the head of the house, but the woman is the neck that turns the head.
Yeah.
I feel like Grievous thinks he made the decision himself, but Dooku and Sidious like were the neck that turned the head.
That's it.
And just helped him along to make the decision. Like, he was angry already, but yeah, they appealed to his hatred, and he was more than willing to be Dooku's errand boy if it meant he could kill Jedi and have power. And like, power over what? Droids?
Well, that's what Obi-Wan...
Was that satisfying?
That's what Obi-Wan asked him. What do you have to show for all your power? What have you to gain? And he said, a future where there are no Jedi. He kind of predicted the future there, but...
Imagine that Grievous had survived and there are no Jedi. What would he do next? What next is the question.
He would hate some other level of being, because...
Yeah.
That's just the way of it.
That's the deep root or the problem.
Yeah.
A person like that can never really be satisfied. So
fits right in with Sidious and company.
Yeah. Idiots.
That's the perfect ending. That's the perfect way to end that one. Okay, so our question for you, what is your favorite Grievous moment? And if it's Obi-Wan oriented, we would love that, but it doesn't have to be. Right.
It's just most things Kenobi here, so we like Obi-Wan stories. But yeah, tell us your favorite Grievous moment and we will share it on the next episode. Drum
roll, please. Our next episode is Andor Season 2, Episodes 1 through 3. Let's go! We'll be doing every single week episodes for Andor. We're going to somehow figure out what to do when I'm overseas for a week, but we'll figure it out. So we'll do our best. We're doing our weekly recaps. They start April 29th, starting with the first 3 episodes of Andor. We are so excited. This is what we've been waiting for. Please
I'm
join
not
us.
ready. Now that it's here, I'm not ready. I've been saying I'm ready. I lied.
Well, you better get ready, because we about to dissect 1 through 3. No matter how painful and awful and beautiful and terrible they are, we'll be here to do it. So join us next episode when it's all about Andor, Season 2, Episodes 1 through 3.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Most Things Kenobi podcast. We appreciate every single one of our patrons and are grateful for your support. If you'd like to support the podcast and become a patron as well, head over to the Most Things Kenobi Patreon. As always, you can follow us on Tumblr, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads, and don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. If you enjoy the podcast, feel free to rate us on Spotify and Apple. And if you need just one place to find all of these, head over to mostthinkskenobi.com.
So until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.